We're going to have a panel discussion on decentralized waste management. I would like to invite the panelists to please come on stage as I call out your name. Be patient. We have an esteemed line of panelists, so words don't do justice to the introductions. I'm going to try my best. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge Captain Manivanan for coming here, please. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our first panelist is Dr. Joshy Cherian. He is an organic farmer and environmental scientist, an agricultural scientist with more than 30 years of rich experience in sustainable farming, organic waste management, with extensive field research and hands-on expertise in farm development and management. Dr. Joshy has developed various innovative projects and related to products to implement sustainable solutions. Dr. Joshy has a doctorate from Bhartiyar University, Tamil Nadu, with a specialization in natural resource management, sustainable agriculture, and solid waste management. Many countries seek his advice for finding solutions in the area of sustainable farming and organic waste management. He's also the founder and managing director of Omega Ecotech Products India Private Limited. For all of you who are using the microbial cocoa peat, it all comes from his company. And also he's also the creator of the famous Joshy bin. Welcome, Dr. Joshy. Next, I'd like to call upon the panel Dr. Shanthi Tummala. She is a dentist turned environmentalist, member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable, the founder of HSR Citizen Forum, instrumental in carrying on a lot of campaigns, a lot of the things we saw in the video today. I'll repeat: waste segregation, composting, single-use plastic ban, a lot of other campaigns run in the layout and Bengaluru and beyond, all over across India. She has been participating, leading, and inspiring. Thank you. She's been at the heart of establishing the Composting Learning Center, which is Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra. And it has drawn, it has drawn the attention of activists, officials, and eco-lovers across India. She's an orator, a TEDx speaker. She has spoken on radio, television, public platforms. It's very difficult to make her stop talking. She's worked with Telangana government for end-to-end implementation of solid waste management in Siddipet constituency. She's been conferred upon the prestigious Kempe Gowda Award in 2019. Welcome, Dr. Shanthi. Next we have Mrs. Renuka Konchady, who's the RWA of RMV Extension. Renuka believes in making a difference around her, a stack at a time, a bin at a time, a child at a time, with resources within her reach in the areas of SWM and education. She has an enlightening journey navigating the SWM world since 2008. Her engineering background aided her to understand and experiment, to find solutions for improving the composting process and operational issues at Residential Waste Management Initiative SHOWS, SHOWS. Welcome, Mrs. Renuka. Another difficult introduction for me now. I welcome Mr. Roopesh Kumar. He's been the garbage contractor since 2013, and he was awarded the tender for HSR layout in 2016. You will see the year 2016 many times, both in the video and here. It's probably the turning point for all of us. It changed the whole scenario for HSR layout, waste collection. He's been awarded as the best contractor of BBMP in Swachh Sarvekshan. He's passionate. He's able to arrange infrastructure for DWCC, including baling, conveyor, stacker. He's a believer of fully functional DWCC in all his wards, and so many other things credited to him in terms of using plastic for road asphaltation, developing a tender coconut processing unit, supporting in setting up Kalika Kendra. All his hosts are all his events are zero waste events, including the ones which have people 10,000 and plus coming over. In short, he doesn't understand the word impossible. Welcome, Roopesh. Now I invite the panel moderator, Sandya Narayanan, an SWMRT member. Sandya worked as a finance professional for close to 2 decades and is one of the founding members of Solid Waste Management Roundtable. She is an analyst, an expert on the economy of waste. She's been extensively involved in the policy advocacy area related to all aspects of municipal solid waste management. She has co-authored several papers on several aspects of waste management, has been very involved in local groups working on ward level with local communities, elected representatives, and the BBMP on waste management systems, and is a part of several BBMP and DMA technical committees. As you already will know shortly, she's very articulate, very detailed, and very calm and composed with all of us hot-headed people here, and she's been very patient with us.
So before starting the panel discussion, I would like to welcome the first joint commissioner when we started this journey, Jannappa sir. Sir, thank you sir for coming. He put that seed of confidence in me that I can think beyond my house and do something. We'll come to that later.
Thank you. Over to you, Sandhya.
So after so much of a heads up, the difficulty is always in finding that first one question and who to address it to. So we are not going to do a typical round robin. I'll just stay with you to understand the topic a little more and then we move on to the rest. I request the patience of the other panelists while the person is speaking. Before we go into the details of maybe what each of you do, I thought it'll be nice, Dr. Joshy, to understand from you and to explain to the audience here the correlation between what we are seeing here as decentralized waste management practices. We are seeing small numbers, a small number of people doing this. How do you see it vis-a-vis a large subject like climate change? I know you have very strong thoughts on it, but we'd like you to explain that to the audience.
Good evening, everyone. In fact, I should thank the organizers of this meeting to invite me for sharing my experiences with you. In fact, I think it's more than before 2015, I was asked to develop a solution for home composting, and that need came from SWRT. That is, I am basically a scientist. Before being a scientist, I am a farmer. I am an organic farmer. So for me, organic waste is always a very important resource which helps organic farming. So I've been involved with this for more than 30 years, and going back when I started an organic farm in Pollachi in Tamil Nadu, people were burning coir pith. That is how I got involved in coir pith, because all around Pollachi there are a lot of defibering mills, and the fiber was the main product and they were burning the pith, which was a byproduct. So I got interested in this material and I did my research, and I was able to convert this into a valuable product which we are using in different, as a growing medium and also as a composting medium. So coming back to SWRT, I was asked if we could evolve a solution for a hassle-free organic home composting. That's how I developed the the initial home composting kit. From there it has again moved further. Now, as Sandhya was mentioning, what you have initiated here from a composting angle, from a waste management angle, today it has got a much larger significance and importance, because climate change is something which is hitting us all very hard. No one now needs to tell another person that climate change is real. For example, one small example, the rain that we are having in Bangalore now. See, Bangalore does not have any river, but we are having floods continuously. I'll just try to explain to you how this is happening. Earlier when we had rains, the cross-sectional height of the cloud was around 7 to 8 kilometers. Today it is almost 16 kilometers. The cross-sectional height of the cloud that is raining is almost 16 kilometers. This is because of the accumulation of excess moisture. So that is the evaporation from the sea has increased tremendously, and all this moisture is gathered and coming over us in clouds, and it is literally downpouring. So in Chennai recently, in 10 hours, 48 centimeter rain. In Thoothukudi recently, in 24 hours, almost 95 centimeter rain. There's no drainage system can take out this kind of downpour. So we are going to have very serious climate change challenges in our life. This is only the beginning. In Chennai, the wind was blowing at 60 kilometer speed for so many hours. So it can happen anywhere in the world at any time. There is no escape. So, and the most important realization is that it is the greenhouse which is actually responsible for global warming, and it is the global warming that is responsible for climate change. And which is the most potential greenhouse? That is methane. And 50% of the world's methane is coming from landfill. So this is where what we have evolved or what we have tried to do in HSR is so important to the global community today. And I have been involved. I am very happy to say that Dr. Thomas Isaac invited me in 2015 to find solutions for the problems they are facing in Kerala. And we initiated a program in Trivandrum city where we initially did a pilot in 2,000 houses in home composting, and that was extended to 50,000 houses in Trivandrum city, which is the largest decentralized waste management initiative in India, probably in the world. And I'm very happy to say that the COP28 held in Dubai invited Trivandrum Corporation to share that experience. So what I'm trying to say is that what we are doing in HSR, don't think it is HSR. It is in a few, you mentioned say a few tons. It is not the number of tons. It is a solution that we are evolving. It is a solution, technology, and also the social dimension, the acceptance of this by the people here. So I am telling you, the whole world is today looking for decentralized waste management solution. They don't have the confidence. They don't know what to do. In fact, in Dubai summit, they have evolved a new concept called LOW, low methane. That is, expansion is lowering organic waste methane. So you understand the importance of the global importance of the solution that we have evolved in HSR. In fact, I was telling the HSR team, now our next agenda is not spread the message to the rest of the country, but to the rest of the world. Because there will be much more acceptance for this from the rest of the countries. So I think with this I'll conclude this particular.
Thank you, Dr. Joshi. That was a really nice opening statement. So coming back to the local subject of the HSR effort, Shanthi, I want to understand from you, a lot of us or a lot of the others who have seen you, and the fact that though we know that HSR has done what it has done with a collective effort, it cannot be denied that you have been one of the front runners in actually making it happen. Now, often there is a little bit of a fear when we see these kind of achievements. Is this a system which is personality dependent? What is your thought on how will this HSR best practices continue in a few years where it is not personality, or do you feel that it has gone past that stage where it is no more personality dependent?
Very tough question, Sandhya. Actually, it should not be a personality dependent, because for it to sustain or replicate, it should never be a personality dependent. But many times, to a certain amount of time, to a certain period of time, it is person dependent, because not many will have that courage to stand in front of the officials or talk. But that confidence you instill, there are many citizens who are coming forward to learn, and few times they will follow us, how we interact, how we negotiate, how we talk. It's okay to get a no from them, but still how we take the no or failure. And people watching will definitely take over. Now I'm not in the HSR Citizen Forum EC group, but still it continues to do good. And youngsters like Dhruva are there. We welcome our MLA sir, Sri Satish Reddy sir, who's been supporting always from the past 10 years. Sir, welcome, sir. So without his support, we wouldn't have been able to reach today. So HSR Citizen Forum, actually Sandhya is a team of committed citizens, committed volunteers who are now ready to take the baton forward without me. But only thing is, we are yet to move out of HSR. Like Joshy told, it is a need beyond HSR, not Bangalore, beyond the country. There is a demand to understand what are the ways of decentralized processing. Is it possible? First of all, there is lack of confidence that it is possible. There are always a question marks. Is decentralized possible in the urbanized setup? Does it stink? Does it cause any diseases to me? There are a lot of people who say, composting in front of my, no, mosquitoes will come. No. There are still a lot of doubts whether it can be done. So maybe HSR has given confidence to Telangana to replicate. Telangana is doing now like that. Many more cities will come up. Definitely, it should not be a personality dependent thing, but I still take some more time to say that it goes on with anyone and everyone.
Yeah, so I do, having seen your journey up close, I know that in the last few years it has stopped being personality dependent. I was expecting you to say that forcefully, you didn't. But we hope you'll get there. I know it's ultimately that's the dream all of us want to achieve, that it becomes an institutionalized system. Coming to another pet topic which I know you believe in, and I really want you to talk about it, is the role of enforcement in making it a success. Though we see a lot of this effort as being voluntary, and we see it as being inspired or motivated or people coming forward, and it's not possible to make, the system is not yet matured enough for us to make laws around it, where we mandate that people have to do something in front of their street or to take up home composting. We have such a complex social system. We as yet have not reached that level. While Kerala has in some sense done it, I don't know about Bangalore city whether we can get to that level. but there is a role that authorities can play with respect to enforcement. And I know that you have taken a lot of leverage out of that to actually get the system to where it is. So why don't you walk us through a little bit of that?
So, enforcement, actually, all the laws in the country are very good on the papers, but when it comes to enforcement, we fail very badly, miserably, especially in waste management. Way back in 2013, when I had asked our health inspector to penalize a defaulter who is not segregating in spite of telling 10 or more times, he's like, Madam, kasa ke fina? Illa madam, agala. So, the fear of penalizing someone was there since long. I dreamt about it that like any traffic penalty, the penalties on waste management should be, people should fear to mix garbage, people should fear to throw garbage. That dream, all of us citizens kept on calling the health inspector. There were days, Sandhya, I still remember, we volunteers would tell the health inspector, you write the penalty, if he doesn't pay, we'll pay from the pocket, but you ensure that it is written and the slip is given to him. So usually where it fails is when there is a penalty drive which is moved, political will is required. Immediately there will be a call from one MLA, one corporator saying, hey, our namma oru bitvidi. And blessing is that we don't have that in HSR. The full support of the defaulter, sir, I mean, he always tells in the community, do not call me if you have done a mistake. Do not call me if you are using plastic. So that one, his silence of not supporting the defaulters took us a long way. Amazing thing is, I don't believe in any success unless it sustains, unless it is replicated. Now across Bangalore, penalties, night patrolling, everything is up on toes, and everyone is now, it is not guts anymore. It is a common practice now. Even JHI is penalized. So many JHIs have been trained coming to HSR on penalties and the importance. I always believe only 50% difference can be brought about by awareness. The rest of the 50% difference comes only with enforcement of the law, whatever field it is.
Sure. Your turn is not over. Few more questions and then we move on to the rest. So in this whole exercise and having done it for some time and also in other projects, what for you is more striking as a key game changer? Is it minimization or is it management? Waste minimization or waste management? Which do you think plays a more important role?
People management plays a major role. Whether it is, convincing them or making them understand what is more important, not to do a certain thing, people management. Take it Banshankari temple or take it anywhere, it is people management, making them understand the rule. And waste minimization has started its journey, but long way to go. But I am glad, many people ask, 10 years you have traveled, what difference it made? It made a lot of difference. People have now the courage to take up zero waste events, but only thing, me and my friends keep dreaming that we should have a zero waste mobile vehicle with one more. I mean, the dreams no end, no? So minimization of waste is the requirement now, and processing whatever is generated is the second thing. First is minimization, for which zero waste event should be just like that easy. Now who is making zero waste event? Who is very confident, very stubborn with all the challenges. And one of our member, Kanvi, has a wedding in his family coming up. He is also facing that reluctance from the family members to make it a zero waste event. That reluctance should go and it should become a very simple norm. So waste minimization is the key first required to be done.
And one last question to you. Given your special, unique relationship that you all have with Roopesh Anna, right? That's how he's referred to. What do you, how or what level of importance or focus would you give to the role of a service provider in having achieved the scale or being able to replicate it further in decentralized waste management particularly?
So, citizens' role again comes down little bit. Citizens' movement comes down a little bit, and the priority goes to the service provider. How much ever effort we put and ensure people segregate, if there is no proper collection, if there is no proper understanding of not to mix the collected garbage, if there is no proper recovering of dry waste from whatever is segregated, all the motivation and the moral comes down. So Roopesh for us has been, I mean, we don't look at him as a contractor. It's much beyond. No words can describe what a person Roopesh is in waste management. He thinks like us, like an eco warrior, how we all think day and night. Maybe his journey started of sustainability from us in 2015-16, but he's gone beyond us. We may be thinking for 10 to 12 hours, he'll be thinking more than us, 15 to 18 hours. Early morning, 5:30, we can do this, no, we can do that. Amazing to have a service provider like him. If only we have many more such Roopesh, maybe 28 Roopesh, I think should solve Bangalore problem. There is no word called impossible in him, and just 28 Roopesh can solve the garbage problem of Bangalore. Very, very down-to-earth person and very progressive thinking. A contractor being progressive thinking, and it's amazing. There's a lot of things coming forward, which maybe a bus will arrange, asking MLA sir to visit all the places like, CND waste, the tender coconut processing, all that. You all have to see that. You saw in the video, but there's lots more that Roopesh has made, and amazing support from him for 5 wards in Bommanhalli.
Thanks, Shanthi. Moving to you, Dr. Joshy. I'm going to have a few questions for you so that we can focus on the topic that we are with you without breaking thought. The elephant in the room is always that word composting. Nobody likes it. Everybody is afraid of it. How does one break through that to get to a big ideal like climate change, decentralized waste management? Finally, how do we break that barrier?
See, in my opinion, before you look at how we compost, we should look at why we compost. Because today, as we have seen, the challenge, the landfills. What is the challenge created by a landfill? If we are not composting, then what happens is what we all should understand. We have to resort to landfill. So in a landfill, I think most of you who are familiar with a landfill, you will know. You can't go near a landfill, first of all, because of smell, flies, birds, dogs. See, the kind of challenges that we encounter by all these different issues around a landfill. In fact, some of the WhatsApp videos circulating about children being attacked by street dogs. We can't bear the pain. It's so serious. So again, the leachate, the contamination of the underground water. And I don't know how many of you are aware about the methane. See, in a landfill, especially in a tropical country situation like what we have, more than 60% of the waste coming to any landfill is organic. So when it starts breaking down, the whole landfill becomes an anaerobic pile. So it goes through an anaerobic process and methane is generated. And this methane, you all know, is today considered to be the most important villain in climate change, because methane is 21 times more harmful than carbon dioxide. And as I told you earlier, almost 50% of the world's methane is coming from landfill. So we cannot afford to permit the accumulation of greenhouse gases, especially methane, because if you understand the cause for global warming, greenhouse phenomenon, there is a partial blocking of the reflected radiation from the earth. That is how the warming happens. And the extent of energy that is being trapped every second is equal to 4 times the atomic bomb dropped in Hiroshima. That is a quantum of energy that is being trapped every second because of the greenhouse gas phenomenon. And we know energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So this trapped energy is creating all the natural disasters that we are facing today. So if we are not responsible and if we are not willing to compost, then automatically we are going for landfill or incineration. Another major reason why we should compost is the soil health. Today across the world the soil health is depleted. When we say soil health is depleted, it means that the soil organic carbon has reduced because we are not letting the carbon cycle complete its course. I think you'll be really surprised to know that in the atmosphere we have around 750 billion tons of carbon. In all the plants and animals together we have around 500 billion tons of carbon. And in soil alone, we have 2,400 billion tons of carbon. And every year, we are losing about 60 billion tons of carbon from soil by oxidation. There is a huge life in soil. In a healthy soil, there should be around 30 to 40 lakh earthworms in 1 acre. Around 10 to 15 tons of microbes in 1 acre. So all these life need carbon, like we all eat 3 times water, carbon, basically carbon. Similarly, there is a huge life in soil which needs carbon. So when we are not letting the carbon go back to the soil, we are depleting the soil health. When soil health is depleted, automatically plant health is depleted. When plant health is depleted, the plant is susceptible to disease and pest. So we use all kinds of dangerous chemicals to protect the plant. And where do these chemicals go? It comes back to us in food and water. So human health is affected. So when we are today, there is a very huge awareness across the world to rebuild the soil carbon. So anywhere we have organic waste or the kind of, in any situation, the 60% of the waste is organic. So if you are not letting this carbon go back to the soil, then again we are creating huge problem for us. So again I would like to say why we need to compost
is more important. Sure.
So any challenge that we come across for composting will be acceptable.
So maybe we are not talking enough about why we need to compost. People don't understand the correlation.
True,
That's a good point.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to you in a little while. At the end, I have an important question for you. But moving on to you, Renuka. For those of you who don't know why we have Renuka on the panel, it's a very special reason. Renuka represents an area called RMV Extension, which had the privilege of having the first community composting model, which was set up way back in the 1980-90s. It was called SHOWS, Scientific Handling of Waste and then something else. So SHOWS. It was set up by a UNEP Norwegian funding, and it went on. We don't have Shalini madam with us. She was the driver for actually running that whole community composting setup. RMV Extension is a beautiful small, like a neighborhood, like a gated community which has about 350 or 400, 500 houses. Oh, I missed you. Yeah, sure. And they managed their waste in-house. They were almost like a community which did not let go of their waste for a long time. And this particular shows was set up as a model. There was one more set up in Kalyan Nagar called Rise. And recently, and which is what we'll talk to you about, for various reasons, it got dismantled. We know also that the RMV RWA did excellent work for, I don't know, decade more, where so many of the practices in terms of everything that we saw today actually, whether it's park composting, segregation, all of that were actually adopted. And my leading question, which Shanthi did not like at all earlier, about is this personality dependent, was one of the reasons why I asked her, is because shows at some point was also a lot about Shalini Madam. She's of course no more with us, she's a very senior person. But the community, that which is all of you, have continued that work, and it's amazing to see that you all have some way kept your resilience, but I think in some parts, some trials and tribulations kind of thing. So I want to understand from you basically a little bit of the history, if you can briefly kind of touch upon that. And what led to those trials and tribulations, which kind of made you have to stop a lot of that stuff, which is a little bit of where we don't want HSR to go in some sense. So
thank you for inviting. Hello. Thank you for inviting me here. Of course, like when everyone started talking, I was wondering what I'm doing here, because I don't think I've achieved as much as all of you put together have. Coming back to your question, what shows? Shows was actually, it was started in October of 95 with a bunch of very concerned citizens, because the layout was a VDA layout then, and the surrounding areas were the garbage pickup was very, very irregular. So they started off with, we have to work with the VDA officials and the municipality, and there were some like those notified areas around to get the clearing done. But within months, they realized that that was not going to, make the mark. We needed to take care of things ourselves. So they had really good support from the then VDA commissioner. So because right from the beginning, they had approached. Okay. Right from the beginning, they had approached her, and she encouraged them to even think about composting also inside. And they finally talked to a lot of experts, because there were a lot of, I believe, small groups already looking into it. Vijay Mahal had a group that was trying to do composting within their area. And we are all open layout. We are not a private layout or a gated community or an apartment. These are individual houses. So a lot of resistance was like, the government should be taking care of it. Why are you all doing it? But they still got about 100 households who joined in initially. And the initial funding, nothing came from the government. The government said, okay, BDA gave them a site to work on. They had the Ms. Shenoy and the group identified, gave them a site to work on. Initial experimenting happened in the backyards of some of the members. They started with, and the whole motto from the beginning had always been, it has to be a low cost, very easy to operate system, because you are going to have workers who are illiterate or, and who won't be able to follow too complex instructions and don't want complicated machinery. It should not be power dependent. So if there's power cut, you don't want your whole system failing there. So that had always been the motto, that it was not going to be a very energy intensive system. And they went all over the place. So they started off with stacks, with the forced aeration, and the problem, and I think initially in the first year when they started, they got about 650 kgs of compost from the project. And towards the, and then by 2013, okay, so funding was coming in because of the connection. Yes, here's when you say personality dependent, it was Mrs. Shenoy her husband was an IS officer. So through the years afterwards, when we took over, when I was running around to get the collect the funding and all that with a few core members, we realized how much of a impact it had about who you knew and who you were. Because initially, even though shows was doing work for so many years, for some reason BBMP refused to even allocate us any funding or put us under any category. So every time we went, it was like, oh, where do we put you? Where did you get your funding from last year? So they would go back into the book, see which account the money came from, and do some jugaad and give us. Finally, I think when Mr. Rajneesh Goyal was a commissioner, he said, no, you need to have a proper, MOU and all that. So initially there was a MOU, which then never got, they didn't renew it. They just, told us, just come to us and they would fund us. So we got an MOU done. For 5 years, they gave us an MOU. We told them what we were doing. So those days, I think, because the government, as it proceeded, the years went by, they started streamlining their processes also. But we as a small group fell through the cracks, I think so, because everyone was very encouraging when the government level, when we went. The engineers were always very supportive of us, the work we were doing. And people came, they sent, other government officials to come and look at our center. But when it came to this funding and making us a permanent kind of a player in the field, somewhere they either lacked the confidence or they kept saying there was no policy was being created where they could include us into their system. So every year it was a fight to get the funding for us. Eventually, since this project started in 96, by 2013 we realized we needed to do major renovation work. So the engineer said, we will fund it, don't worry, send in a proposal. We did all that. We went and got an architect to design the system for us. But finally, when the paperwork went through, it was like nobody wanted to fund us because we were not authorized this thing, or we were a third party, player. Then finally we were told, do it yourself. We said, fine, we'll do it ourselves, because our colony, there were enough people who were ready to fund the project. But it was a big project, it was almost 14 lakhs. I'm talking 2015. We said, okay, if you're spending so much, putting in so much of money, we want the assurance that nobody will come and tell us, move from this space. So at least give us in writing that we're permitted to do it. Even that never happened, actually. Finally, they threw some act at us, even though we told the commissioner, you have the authority to override it, actually. But it did happen. But Mr. Belur Dr. Belur is the RWA president. He ran around a lot with us. With our MLA was actually supportive, so they tried to get funding from somewhere for us. But it never came through, unfortunately for us. When we were told the funding was coming, we dismantled our setup, moved it to another temporary space, which the RWA, created the shed and everything for us. But within 6 months... But
your ultimate problem did not come from the authorities. It actually came from a fellow resident.
Ultimate thing, yes. But in a sense, it was the authorities, because I think a lot of politics came into the picture.
You're being very diplomatic.
Yeah.
But I think the ultimate dismantling of that entire system happened because there was a fellow resident there who did not.
That came into the picture a lot later, because by 2017, we were not getting the funding. The MOU was not. It had already lapsed 6 months. They were not renewing it, calling, all kind of things. Finally, the commissioner, the solid waste commissioner, the joint commissioner, he told us, okay, you'll do your work. We will not pay you. You take all the stuff to the dry waste center, because the dry waste center had already been set up a year ago by then. Take it to the dry waste center. Composting y'all can do, and y'all self-sustain. So we looked at the math. With a little bit of help from the RWA, we could have sustained that also. But we still needed that land to work on, right? So we wanted, again, assurance from the government saying that, okay, use the land. So you have the authority to use the land, because by then a lot of policy changes came about, right? So that is what. So 2017 is when we stopped work, August 2017. But we were still, the property was still under shows as far as we were concerned. So then we told the RWA, okay, we are not doing this wet waste composting. Why don't you all use it for green waste composting? So they decided to beautify the space and then start doing the dry waste composting. The garden composting, green waste composting. But when they went in to access the place, suddenly we were not allowed to use the space, and we didn't initially figure out what was happening. But turned out that one of the influential neighbors has already got the BDA to allocate the property to him. And this was like 6 months ago already, apparently it had been allocated, and we were not aware of it at all. So we tried went to court kind of put a stay order. They finally, it went to, all over the place. They told, it went back to the BBMP. They told us use it.
That's what the tribulations that are.
Yeah, so we were not allowed even to this day to use go near the site itself. And you put it that way.
But I think you made a very important point, and I really like that, which is about we were too small and it fell between the cracks. I think the thing about decentralized waste management is that when it starts, it is going to be small because pretty much it's a collective effort, and the scaling up and all of that is only going to happen in the next phase. So what is it in the system? What is it in the rule books that will support something which is as small as this, but which is still so important and not allowed to fall through the cracks? I think that's one big thing that we all have to put on the table in terms of decentralized waste management. Thanks, Renuka, for sharing your thoughts, and really that's a very important part for us. Coming to you, Roopesh. I think there's a lot of curiosity. What was the reason that you made the switch? As a contractor who's there, anyway you are assured BBMP kadeyinda you are going to get that payment for what you're doing. What was it that made you do the switch from being just a regular contractor who's moving it from point A to point B and to do all the things that you have tried to do? What was it? Was it the system? Was it just that you liked all these HSR people, that is why you started doing it? What was it?
Hello. Welcome everybody. I thank our MLA. Our MLA's support is very important for getting success for HSR. And you asked what's the reason? What's the reason why I'm doing this? So I'm passionate in this, and I wanted our constancy should be model constancy should be there, and whatever we do, that's for next future generation, because main motive is not to go to landfill. So this why we should do for next generation. The landfill should not be there. We need to do all decentralized thing. So I'm doing this.
That's wonderful to hear. That you thought of it, that my job is not just to pick it up from here and put it there, but idu mele vandu bigger motivation ide, the landfill hogbardu anta. But my question to you is, solutions neeve takondu ellino research ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೋಡಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ರೆಡಿಯಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಸೊ and as a business person, you have also managed to find the money, nim funding in the, we are dependent upon the authorities for support and all of that. You have managed it on your own. But decentralized waste management achieve madakke solutions idya? Ella waste streams handle madakke solutions idya?
ಇದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ವಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ, ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಜಾಗ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ, ಜಾಗ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಹುಡುಕಿ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇರೋ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಒಂದೇ, CNG ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 45 days to 60 days ಬೇಕು ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಆ ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟು ಹಂಗೆ ಹೀಪ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿರೋ ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ CNG ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕ್ರಶ್ ಆಗಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಿಂದ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ, ನನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯೆನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದೇನೆಂದರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಬದಲು CNG ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೋ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸೊ ಅದೇ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ಬದಲು CNGನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬ ಎಕನಾಮಿ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಡೀಸೆಲ್ಲು ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಿಂದ ತೊಗೊಂಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇ ಈ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಮು ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ BBMPಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ 198 ವಾರ್ಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ 4500 ಟನ್ಸ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. 4500 ಟನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವೇನಾದರೂ CNG ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು 198 ವಾರ್ಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆಟೋ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು CNGನ ಮಾರ್ಬೋದು. ಅದರಿಂದ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಇನ್ಕಮೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲೂ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರತಿ ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲೂ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಡೋರ್ ಟು ಡೋರ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟು ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆದರೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಕಸ. ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋ ಕಸನ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ಸ್ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಬಂದರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲೇ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ತುಂಬ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ರೀಸೈಕ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. LVP ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, MLP ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. LVP ಮತ್ತು MLP ಎರಡೂ ಕ್ರಷ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಆಸ್ಪಾಲ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಸ್ಪಾಲ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ರೋಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ LVPಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ITC ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ ರೈನಿ ಸೀಸನಲ್ಲಿ 6 ಮಂತ್ಸು ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ನು ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಎರಡನೇ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ನು ರೋಡ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವಾಗ ಯಾವುದು ರೀಸೈಕಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಹಾಕೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಹಾಕೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಬೆಳ್ಳುಳ್ಳಿಗೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡೋದ್ರೆ ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ, ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ KCTCಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೇನಾದರೂ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹುಡುಕಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಂಡೋರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಚೆನ್ನೈಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬೇಲೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಿದ್ದಿಪೇಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದಾಗ ನಾನು ಇಂಡೋರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇನೆಂದರೆ 550 ಟನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, CNG ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿಯವರೇ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಅದು ಸಿಟಿ ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೈ ಜೋಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋದರೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಏನು ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕಲ್ವ, ಬರೀ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟ್ಲಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ನೂ ಇದೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿನೂ ಇದೆ.
ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. HSR 2016 ನನಗೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಶಾಂತಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು RW ಟೀಮು ಮತ್ತು ಇವರು HSR ಟೋಟಲ್ ಟೀಮಿಂದ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಏನಂದರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಇದ್ದರು. ಡೈಲಿ ತ್ರೀ ಟ್ರಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇಸ್ಟು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು, 3 ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ಇವರು ಇದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಗೆ ಮೇಡಮೇ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಇವರೇನಾದರೂ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ನ ಅದ್ರ ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಯಿತು ನನ್ನ ಮೈಂಡ್ಸೆಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸಿದ್ರು ನನಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇವಾಗ CND ವೇಸ್ಟು ಸುಮಾರು ಟ್ರಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಕ್ರೀಟು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ಅನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅದು ಟ್ರಕ್ 3000 ರೂಪೀಸ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ಥರ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಾನು ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದು.
ಬ್ರೈನ್ ವಾಷಿಂಗ್ನ. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು, ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ವೆರಿ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್, ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿನೂ ಇದೆ.
ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದೆ, ಮರ್ತದೆ. ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ ಮೂರು ಗಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ರು. ನಾನು ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ಇವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ನ ಹಾಕ್ದಾಗ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ವ. ಆವಾಗ ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರನ್ನ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಕನ್ವೇಯರ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ಸು, ಬೇಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಷಿನು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನೇನು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ರಿಕವರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ. ಆವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು, 3 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ನಮ್ಮದು 5 ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಏನು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡೋದು ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮದು 5 ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಎವ್ರಿ 3 ಡೇಸ್ಗೆ 1 ದಿನ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ ಎ ಮಂತ್ 10 ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ಯಾನಿಟ್ರಿ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಬೇರೆ ಝೋನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಝೋನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನು. ಅದು ಏನಾದರೂ ಆದರೆ 1 ವಾರಕ್ಕೆ 1 ಗಾಡಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ವ, 3 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಗಾಡಿ ಹೋದರೆ ನನಗೆ 3000 ರೂಪೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ. ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಹೋದರೆ 90,000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 3 ಡೇಸ್ಗೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ 30,000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಪರ್ ಮಂತು. ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇವ್ 60,000. ಸೊ ಈ 60,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಿಕ್ಕತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ಸು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ಗೂ ಹೋಗೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ, ನಾನು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನಾವು ದುಡಿಯೋದಾಗಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ರದ್ದು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
Thanks, Roopesh. I have one question for you again on the same lines that I asked Roopesh. Is it really possible for us to manage all the ward waste within the ward?
Yeah, in fact, we are running these models in different places in Kerala and also now in Chennai. In Chennai, we have government had built micro composting centers which can handle I think roughly the waste in one ward or part of a ward. So there they collect both the garden waste and also the wet waste. So unfortunately, because of a faulty design and faulty program, almost 200 micro composting centers built in Chennai are non-functional. I think none of them are functioning. So we wanted to prove that it is possible to run. So we have taken up one in T Nagar with the help of a CSR support, and for last more than 2 years we are running it, and we get both wet waste and also the garden waste in that area, and we are able to effectively compost both the garden waste and wet waste. And this because the whole concept is to make quality compost, because Sandya, you are telling about compost. A lot of our composting initiatives are not really composting. We are only dehydrating the organic material. So when you dehydrate, what happens is that the end product is not useful to a farmer. But whereas when we really do an active aerobic composting process, the biggest advantage, there is no methane. We have checked this. There is no methane during composting. And after the composting, you get a very high quality compost. And we are able to give this to the farmers. And in some of our composting initiatives in Kerala, we are also composting the non-veg waste along with all this other waste. So the quality of the compost is very high. So there is a big demand for the compost. They are not able to meet the demand. And as I mentioned earlier, we have to rebuild the carbon in soil. See, otherwise, Jaggi was there, who is the Isha. His prediction is that another 30-40 years, the entire soil in the world is going to be non-productive. So soil carbon is something we cannot afford to neglect. We have such a huge life in soil which needs carbon. And all the other basic characters of the soil, that is the air-water balance, the soil temperature, water infiltration, the nutrient recycling, everything is dependent on carbon in soil. So if there is no carbon, the soil is dead.
With that really, really important statement, I'm going to kind of call it a close on the poll. I think we've left a lot of good messages that we all have to remember. My poll to you, and I know it's a difficult question, but I just want you to select one or the other.
Political will comes from where? They are interested in votes. They are interested in votes. The vote is the biggest thing in democracy. So when people are interested in having a livable environment, sanitation, naturally every politician and bureaucrat, starting from Prime Minister down below, will be interested in answering and getting the votes and to maintain the health of the community.
So you're saying citizens?
Citizens.
He's the last word. Sir, I'm not asking you that question. Heltira. Oh, wonderful.
I think you have 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 hands. So citizens are important and government is also important.
Going to plan in future the same kind of roundtable conference, and how important, preservative of water is also equally important. Because I know this session is primary SWM. I wish to see LWM. So in the down, please think about that. I just want to bring to your notice. I know you are all thinking beyond the out of box. I think this is also as equally important resource, which, as the sir has told, right, carbonization and decarbonization. Unless there is a liquid water H2O, nothing can chemically work out there. Thank you.
The head office of BBMP asking, innondu word ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್, ಹಿಸ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್. ನಾನು ಬೊಮ್ಮನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಆಚೆ. ಹಿಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇನ್
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಬ್ರೈನ್ ವಾಶ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ.
ನೋ ಈವನ್ ಇಫ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ವಾಶ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ರೈನ್ ತೆಗೆದು ಇದು ಇಟ್ಟರು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ we have a habit of, HCF has a habit of asking our MLA something or the other for his birthday. So this panel gave me a thought for 2024 December 12th. We want a bio-CNG plant which will make Bommanhalli constituency self-sustained, sir. Because composting is always has been a challenge in KCDC. Whenever there is some election, council election or MLA election, MP election, everything citizens around, it does stink, and that is one time where people... So making it a CNG plant in lines with the central government also will definitely attract not only Bangalore, citizens across to see Bommanhalli as a model. So my HSR Citizen Forum's request to you, sir, by 2024, your birthday, we want a bio-CNG plant in KCDC. And third thing, I may be on the panel, but all the HSR Citizen Forum, people who have dreamt the same thing what I dreamt, all those efforts, the saying is that without, for a progress or success, without sacrifice, it is just not possible. So many of them here have sacrificed so many things, including their family time, to make this happen. I may be today on this panel, but lot of effort went into lot of citizens. One hats off to everyone who have contributed.
Thank you all of you. We request you to take your seats.